Hello, welcome to a quick rundown of the benchmark logic. So, first of all, just going to open up the mission. And we have three events in this mission. Number one is go to coordinate scale space and start session, basically starting the mission. Two, without depending on this event being completed, because we have issues with going to location at the moment. We create objects in the session. So we're creating Conway cube, and we're creating 1,000 of them. Number three, set key value percentage of session assets. So it's saying 20% of the session assets are going to look for this key next to the live state. I'll explain that in a bit. And we're going to set the value to true. Now, if we go over to that basically means when we run the mission, spawn the units, set that value. Then we go over to the Conway cube, and you can see quite a lot of key values, indicators, logic, which would be quite a challenge to add manually. And it wasn't created manually, it was created through the tools that have now taken quite a bit of time to test and refine. So there is, I'm going to go looking at implicators here. So we've got 4 implicators. So we've got initialize. In other words, if initialized is false, we set it to true. And whilst we're doing that, we're going to execute a game task called find surrounding units in session. The result of that goes to surrounding UIDs, and that gets cached inside the unit. Next, we count the number of live states inside those surrounding UIDs. So if initialized is true, we then go to, we pass in the surrounding UIDs. The true bool is a live state string, and we output the live neighbor count. Number 3, toggling the render. So if we're initialized and the next live state is sent in, the game task toggle render unit meshes will obviously obey that command and output the current is a live state. Last but not least, set next the live state false. So if this value here is true, then we set next live state to that value, and then set next live state false. That's it for the implicators. And now we go to the logic. I've mentioned the rules for John Conway that are written into the mission description for rules, and that's matched by this logic here. So we've got inputs. This is a less than, so if neighbor count, a live neighbor count is less than 2, set next live state to false. And you've got check has 2 alive. So again, inputs, let's say equal. That makes sense. And then we've got another one which has 3, similar to 2. Then we've got keep set alive if 2 or 3 alive neighbors. So if those 2, either of those, then we say keep alive. We've got kill from overpop. You can see where this is going. Int 3, alive neighbor count greater than, set next alive state false. Then finally, alive state false has 3 alive neighbors. This is resurrect if dead, and next alive state. And then finally, mortar is alive state false. So if is alive, if alive, invert that and set it to is alive state false. So I'm going to do a bit more testing, but that's the bulk of it done, and a bit more testing and reviewing required before I think it will work. But hopefully that makes sense. Next stage, you'll be doing something similar with modules, weapons, mining, that kind of thing. And then from that, the command structure will generate procedurally this same logic. Okay, thanks for listening.